Hello, good morning students. Welcome in a new video of our study. And in that today we are taking a class 8 SST civics portion. And students, it is unfortunate that we have been less discussed about civics portion. We have taken geography and history, but there is no problem. We have time and only one chapter would come in half-yearly exam, because we have very less chapters in civics. And in that we are taking today a very important topic in your course book, and we have been studying some part of chapter 1, and subject option today's are in topic, and page number 175 we are taking our topic Federalism of chapter 1, the Constitution of India. Students, page number 175 in your course book, and topic is federalism. Students, as we know, Indian government has formed in two categories. First is central government and second is state government. Central government, with the help and assistance of state governments, governs the country. And this structure and this system has been called federalism. Now, in the word of books, we have to understand India has a federal form of government. The power of governance is divided between the central and state governments. What I said previously, students, the power of governance is divided into two criteria, that is central government, that is head of government of state or country, and that is state government, which is head of state governments like provinces. So students, these provinces are independent to rule, but they are in under assistant or under judiciary system of central government. Central government is head of state government, we can say. And like previous time in history, we know that time Kshatrapas were there. Who were Kshatrapas? Kshatrapas means regional rulers. We have been discussing study history that there were some regional rulers, some regional kingdoms who were emerged. So like that, some states are there in our country, and there are 28 states and 9 union territories, including Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. Now both are becoming union territories. So students, with this we are having a central government who is responsible for all the country, including all union territories and the states. And if we see, these union territories have been handled by central government, but these states are having their own state government. By the election of terms, they used to change or govern and rule their government. So now today we are going to discuss deeply this topic, what is federalist form of government and how central government and state governments, with assistance of each other, apply the works of government on the process. So students, India has a federal form of government. The power of governance is divided between the central and state governments. The president is the constitutional head of the country. So if we see president is the constitutional head of the country. So that means all constitutional responsibilities and power is beheld in president. And we see at the central level, the prime minister heads the government and the parliament formulates laws. So president is as a governing body of constitution, and as a president is the constitutional head of the country. So if we see, constitution provides rule and laws by which country is running, and president is the head of this constitutional government or country. So why we see constitutional form? because there is constitutional system which is made, constitution is there, and court, and this whole system of judiciary is running by that constitution. So this is totally in under of president. Okay, students, and if we see at the central level, the prime minister heads the government and the parliamentary formulates laws. So there is parliamentary system. We will read further about that. But president is constitutional head of country and prime minister is head of government. Prime minister is. So you can understand the difference of government and constitution. Constitution is already made and some amendments to be have been taken or have to be taken in future, that is different matter. But constitution has been made up and this government forms in every 5 years in this country as this is central level. So prime minister is the head of government. Students, we see as the state level, the governor is the national head, nominal head. So if we see the state, so governor is nominated by prime minister to govern a state. In spite of that, there is state government and chief minister of that, and who is head of state government. But governor is nominated by prime minister to govern any state and to assist and to somehow to implement the rule of governance of chief minister. So governor is somehow head of chief minister. But chief minister is also having more power. The councils of ministers, all the decisions of state has been taken by chief minister, but he has to approve. He has to or she has to approve that decision from governor. But governor is mainly, or we can say most oftenly bound to sign the decision of state chief minister. Like president is somehow bound to sign the decision of prime minister. But in some cases, we read further, in some cases, governor and president can, check the prime minister and state's chief minister. So, if we see governor is the nominal head of state. So, what is nominal head? That means prime minister nominated him to see that state on behalf of him, and all the inquiries of the governance of that state is taken from governor if there is prime minister needed. And students, so if we see like president, power in central, same is the power of governor in state. And like this, the power of state's chief minister is same like the central power of prime minister. But chief minister is powerful in his state only, and prime minister is having all governance power of the country at the same time. So students, this is called federal form of structure. This is called federalism, and president is the constitutional head of the country, prime minister is the head of the government, governor is the nominal head of a state, and the government is headed by the chief minister, and laws are made by the Vidhan Sabha or state legislature. So like central legislature, there is, if we see central legislature is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and if we see state legislature is Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. We will read further about that. Now the constitution makes clear demarcation of powers and functions between the central and state governments. These have been defined under the union list and concurrent list. I think students have been read this topic in previous classes, but I have to revise this topic for now also. So there is two lists of governance. There is union list and concurrent list. So union list is a work of union government, and the power where he can apply or it can apply his or its work is union list, and concurrent list is that some powers and authorities which is divided in union, central government, and at the same time in state government. So concurrent list is for both. Like we can say an example, like forests. Forests are in administration of central government also, and if we see forest of any state, because forest may be and there be on a state also and only. So that is why if central government is responsible for a forest administration, at the same time state government is also responsible for the administration of that forest. Like if there is a forest in MP, Madhya Pradesh, so central government is responsible for that forest, but at the same time Madhya Pradesh government is also responsible for that forest. So that is concurrent list. So some like hospital facilities, like security problems or security concern or matters. In all these things, central government and state government both are responsible. But union list is only power and authority and work of central government. Okay, students. Then we see parliamentary form of government. As I said previously, India has parliamentary form of government. The parliamentary consists of the President of India and two houses. So in this parliamentary form, top of the parliamentary form is President, as we know. Then Rajya Sabha, that is upper house, and then Lok Sabha, that is lower house. President, okay, Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha is upper house. Why is called upper house? Because Rajya Sabha never dissolved. A Rajya Sabha's member term can be of 6 years or less than or more than that. But the documents and the decision taken or which decision has been taken in Rajya Sabha had been never dissolved, had been always in process and pass out for further implement on that decision. But Lok Sabha is different. In Lok Sabha, after election, a party and a group of MPs joined there with the government and formed government, and they rule for some time. Term is for 5 years, but it can be changed as the stability of government. But what they form rules and decisions and anything as acts and amendments, as for amendments. So for that they had to take permission firstly with president, and what they formed, their rules will only allowed for their government time. After the passing of their government, the new government can change their rule and reform and amend that rule. But in Rajya Sabha, no rule can be changed. If something has been passed out there, no one can change that. So this is difference, and that is why Rajya Sabha has been called upper house and Lok Sabha has been called lower house. So we will read further what is the actual functions of those parliamentary houses, and President is the head of those houses also. The President is the head of legislature and Prime Minister is head of executive. So students, I don't think I have to explain. So President is the head of legislature. So before I say or explain this word, what is principal, President is the head of legislature or Prime Minister is the head of executive. Before I have to explain what is legislature, what is executive, and what is judiciary. Okay, students. So see that this is organs of government, and in that legislature is where the rule formed, or made, like Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Sabha. In both houses, rules and laws are framed and made and been formed. So this is legislature. It may be of central legislature and at the same time state legislature. But firstly we are seeing about central legislature, and in that two forms is there. This Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Sabha both are in central legislature, and this is headed by President, and Prime Minister is the head of executive. So three forms are there. Legislature is to form rule, to making of rules in legislature like Vidhan Sabha in state, Vidhan Parishad in state, and we see in central Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. But what is executive? What is executive? Executive who apply the rule which is formed and maintained or made by legislature. The legislature makes the rule and executive may follow that rule. May follow that rule by others. May follow that rules by others. I think you understand, student? So, executive, that means legislature forms the rule, makes the rule, like in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, in state Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad, and executive apply that rules and make follow that rules by others, like police, Home Ministry, Governor, Prime Minister. They all are ready to check the execution of this legislature formed rule. What is execution? If you see the meaning of execution in Hindi, that is पालन करना, to follow something. And for that, executive department is responsible to execute that rule which is formed by legislature, and president is head of legislature, and prime minister is head of executive department. Then we see there is another third department, and that is judiciary department. And judiciary, by this word, this is department of law and order, and every court and justice and this totally advocacy and form of courts and Supreme Court and High Court, this is total in judiciary system. So this executive head is Prime Minister, legislature head is President, and this judiciary system is independent. Is independent, that means not dependent on anyone, that is not in under of anyone. And if in Hindi you see the meaning of these three words, so judiciary, that is Nyayapalika. It is very important to know Hindi meaning of these words also, students, because it will be easy to memorize. So judiciary is Nyayapalika. Students, executive is Sanchalika, you can say this word, or Vyavasthanika. And legislature is Vidhayika. I think Vidhayika is Vyavasthanika. Okay, no. Vidhayika is legislature and Sanchalika and Vyavasthanika is executive. Okay, so judiciary check the laws is being following or not by legislature. If legislature forms a law, firstly it has to be permitted by president, and at the same time it has to be cleaned up by judiciary. Okay, then execution of laws is headed by Prime Minister, and judiciary at the same time is also responsible to check this execution of laws. So judiciary can check legislature and executive both, but no one can check judiciary because judiciary and this न्यायपालिका is independent organs, an organ of governing form of a country. Okay students, so in this video we have been concluded up to page 175, and in next video we will find out and check out some another salient features of Indian Constitution, and in that we will take points fundamental rights and fundamental duties, which are at the same time very important points. So students, for today we have just taken the introduction of this chapter's topic, that is federalist form of government, and it is very important topic, and at the same time we discussed parliamentary form of government and separation of powers in legislature, judiciary and executive. So students, in homework you have to write or make a figure of this form of government and have to picturize that, and at the same time have to write the powers of President and Prime Minister in forming of government and in handling of constitutional works. Okay students, till then, if there is any query or question, you can ask on my number. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.